a first look at some parts that Tony powder coated for me. So as far as the green car goes, I'm just starting to get parts from it. I pulled the headlamp bezels. I'm going to be trading those to a friend Vince for some parts. I've got some Carrera racing springs up there I'm going to need, so we're pulling the McPherson struts here. Also need a backing plate from the left side for the rotor. The dust plate. It's looking like it's kind of bent, so not sure if I'm going to use it. But either way, I still need the Carrera racing spring that's up there. So, strut's coming out. These are struts from the 74, the green car. I need a left front brake rotor shield, so I'm gonna take this one off. It's slightly bent too, but it's in better shape than the one off the silver car. I'm sure that I can either find a way to fix it or find someone that's got one in better shape. Do a little sourcing on that if possible. I also need the right front brake caliper, so I'm gonna be pulling that off of the 74 strut. This one's bent too, right here. Might be easier to straighten. I tried straightening the one on the 76 and I fucked it up worse, so I'll do a better job on this one. Yeah, believe me, I'd love to be putting GSL SE struts in the front of this car. You know, it's only X amount of budget to work with, and it's running low, my friends. Running low. Be good to yourself, huh? Get yourself a Pitman Arm Puller. Okay? It's only $12.99 at the Made in China store. I've seen these guys on various message boards and on YouTube trying to get their Pitman arms off with grinders and blow torches. There's hammers and chisels involved. You just don't need it. There's a tool for that. Did some powder coating. What we've got here are sway bar mounting brackets and washers and their bolts. We've got control arms, front hubs, ball joint and steering housing, threaded tie rod sleeves. The powder coat process involves cleaning the parts, obviously, and eventually rinsing them with water. And this is all after being sandblasted, so there's nothing protecting the parts. I need to pack these hubs with their bearings and grease right away before rust even thinks about moving in. I'll then wrap them in anti-rust paper like brake drums and rotors come in and store them in a dry place until I'm ready to put them back on the car. Had my Super Pro bushings pressed into the control arms, fresh out of the finishing booth with my tie rod ends. Was fortunate enough to find a set that were all from 3.5. So the tie rod ends and the idler arm are 3.5. Tony powder coated the first few parts for me while I took a class and learned how to use the equipment and the process involved. The bigger stuff like the sway bar, strut housings. The front springs cleaned up nice. They were fairly new coming off the green car. Not good. Right already. Jesus. Got a little bit of a deterrent to the car restoration project. The garage door opener doesn't work. No big deal, can open the door manually, but turns out the rear gear on the motor is stripped. I could just replace that, be about 120 bucks. The door opener is 15 years old, so might as well get a new one that operates on the newer frequencies. It's better level of security. But in order to do that, I need to get the car out of the way, because there's going to be lifting and I don't want anything landing on the car. Getting the car out of the garage with no wheels, I'm going to have to put it on some makeshift dollies and roll it out the door. While I'd much rather be working on the car today, I need to work on the garage door opener. Got to put the rear wheels back on, and I've been working on the front suspension, so it's out of the car. So I'm going to have to lower this puppy onto some dollies or something just to roll it out of the garage so I can fix the garage door. I don't really want to put the cross member back in yet. Not quite ready. I haven't prettied up the hardware. You know, these washers and shit. I need to clean and plate them. I was going to put new lock nuts in there. You know, Mazda uses lots of flange nuts all over the place. Cross member, lock nuts. Not sure why, but I'll put the same thing in when I pull it out. So, cross member going back in. Yeah, I guess with the cross member going back in, I could say reassembly has begun. So I was trying to find a way to lower this car onto some dollies without putting the cross member in. I got it to work, but I'm just asking for trouble because it's starting to bend a little. You know, this thing started bending. Not good. So, cross member back in, even though I'm not ready to do that yet, but I just got to get this thing out of the garage long enough to fix the garage door opener. Fresh powder coat on my cross member. I want to scratch it up with the cinder block. It's under the car. I'm worried about it being scratched. That's funny. Let's see. Piece of cake. All right, finally got the garage door fixed. So today was all about getting it back on jack stands from having the garage door fixed. I had to take it out of the garage so that nothing fell on the freshly painted car. Getting the car back on jack stands is good because now I can actually do some work. Start some reassembly. I still got some things to take off the car. But, yeah. So for the little bit of time that it was on the dolly in order to get the garage door fixed, it really held me back from doing anything. The crossmember bolts to the frame with 4 nylon lock nuts, which have a 14mm head. And I found it really difficult to find brand new ones of these in my area. What I did find were metal lock nuts with a 14mm head, or nylon lock nuts with a 17mm head. So now I've got to decide, do I want to keep it original 14mm, or do I want to keep it original nylon and go with the 17mm head?